And we're back. Very many thanks for choosing to stay with us in this hour. We are continuing with our gold conversation with Mr. James Washera, who is an enterprise development expert. We left it at the fact that you're not supporting the lifting of the ban. Now we can export nut in shell because it kills these two processes.
Yes.
Now, my question again would be, yes, there's the market for nut in shell, which is China, but are we running the risk of at some point they'll not need the supply because clearly they are now rising the rank when it comes to production? Is that a risk we're running?
Of course, yes. Yes, because one, Kenya was number 2 in production of nuts a few years ago. Now we are number 4 because South Africa, of course, number 1, Australia coming, China coming number 3, full speed. They are now at 70,000 tons. In another 2-3 years, 100,000. That time, South Africa will be 125,000. So the growth is very fast. So China will be the dominant player in macadamia in a few years. So if they have their own production, of course, a big population, but if they have their own macadamia nuts, then they will not need in-shelf, especially from Kenya.
Right.
South Africa is different because South Africa are big-scale farmers, so they are able to have a mix of their nuts, what will go to in-shell, because, and again, factories in South Africa are owned by farmers. The farmers themselves build the factories. So it's their product. They can choose what to do with it. But Kenya's small-scale farmers have nobody to protect them. So once the market is gone and you have killed the international Europe, America market, then you have nowhere to take it. That's what you see, the hawking, where people are getting, when you go to a funeral today in Kenya, you find macadamia alongside bananas. Because when the in-shell started, when they finished the premium, the raw grades, nobody's buying. Right. So then you find them in a funeral where people are hawking. A very high premium product.
Great. Now that's a policy issue.
Yes.
Now, but when we talk about the evolution of policy in Kenya, how has that supported the macadamia as an important crop that has been very important when it comes to revenue in the country? Maybe help us understand that evolution in policies.
One, macadamia has not been supported by government at all. This is purely a farmer-led sector that has grown out of the challenges they have faced, especially in Mount Kenya region, from coffee. So it's a farmer-led. Other than the investment that was done by Japanese government in terms of propagation of new materials, there is very little government intervention. But now when government sees what is going on and responding, especially when they were responding to the market decline, the price decline after COVID, but without studying the dynamics. So the idea was they thought that this processor's problem, but it was an international problem. So they respond to it by saying, let the farmer take their macadamia where they want, but without proper study of what. So the intervention is more regulation. But what farmers want is an intervention to support production, to support expansion. That's what the farmers are looking for. But of course, the farmer will be happy one day when the first day the Chinese come and they take 50% of the production, then you are 50% nobody is taking, then you start again blaming the same government. Why are the processors not taking? But they cannot take material that they cannot export.
Right. Let's talk about the key players in the value chain of macadamia here. I'm talking from the farmers to the processors, aggregators, influencers. Do we have stakeholder forums where all these key players in the sector come together and have conversations on how we can streamline the sector, as we have seen with other agricultural subsectors like coffee, recently avocado, and also we did have a cassava forum as well. Is that something happening in the macadamia sector? There
is an association of processors and farmers called NatPac, which looks generally for the entire value chain. But recently, of course, because of the challenges that are there is an emerging opportunity to the process that are now coming up with the macadamia association to look at the whole process of marketing, because everything in Kenya today is marketing. Without a market, you have no product. And that is something that nobody is addressing. So the emerging new lobby group to be able to first of all, respond to this shift in the policy, because it was not a policy that people sat down to discuss and agree. It was one morning from tomorrow, and of course now I'm told they want to make the ban, they want to lift the ban permanently. Because it was just 1 year. 1 year. Now they want, and if I can give you a story quickly, in the many years ago, past 2002, you could do nut in shell anytime, any company. It was there. It just happened one time, and I was there myself, when Kibaki, when he became president, he visited one of the factories with Lucy Kibaki, the first lady. And they went and found these many ladies, 2,000 of them, with their babies in a nursery within the company, babysitting. And then as the first lady was conversing with the ladies, it came apparent. They said, you know, this is what we do. This is in a village setup. We have these jobs. But recently, people have been exporting our in-shell. We are reducing the amount of shells there. And in the tete-a-tete between the first lady and the president just said, we cannot allow Kenya to export its jobs to China.
Right.
And from then, that time, I think Kipruto Rapukiro was the minister then. We were called ministers. That's when the ban was imposed. No export. And it has been like that until now, recently.
Last year.
But if it was discussed and agreed, because if there is a window to do it, let it be discussed by industry. We open 3 months if it's necessary. But to say that now it is a free-for-all, I think that's where we disagree.
So there's need for those conversations.
Yes,
there's need for the stakeholder.
And this forum that you are having is very important, because it's bringing those issues to the forefront, so people can be able to engage and discuss together as stakeholders. Yes.
Great. Now let's talk about sustainability of macadamia farming in Kenya, because let's say in the central region, it's more like an alternative crop.
Yes.
When the coffee prices were going down, when there was issues in the coffee sector, it became like a fallback plan. But it's not like something we do it with so much vigor as our main. What can we do? How much more can we sensitize people so that we make sure that macadamia is a crop that we put focus in, not just a standby crop?
Let me tell you, other than Kenya, sometimes we take things a little lightly. I was part of the team that introduced macadamia to Rwanda. And the Rwanda government, from the president, he was championing the growth of macadamia, him being the first farmer. And the reason they were saying, first of all, there is not much care on this tree. They were calling it the retirement crop. That once you plant it, after 5 years, you eat on this, because it's a lifetime tree harvest. But of course, now in our place, because of the land size, there is opportunities of declining sizes, so you cannot be able to do more trees. But we are encouraging, even if it's your hedge, if you have an acre of land, just plant along the hedge to increase your number of trees. But of course, I mentioned in Western region, Rift Valley, at least there we are promoting, and processors doing it by distributing seedlings. The counties are doing it so that we can have an alternative growth area for macadamia. But if we rely only on central, the production, other than if we eat a crop and have it as our fence and as our then. You will have, of course, the production will be going up, but in some region, counties, it will be going down, other counties, but because there's a mismatch because of the time it takes, the 3-5 years to crop. So there's a window that you see decline, but obviously, and I'm sure the government is listening, we must distribute seedlings to the farmers, we must support them, so that we don't continue losing because Australia is going to come out. So we should, from South Africa, we should always be number 2. Vietnam is also coming very fast. But of Vietnam, sometimes nobody knows they are processing, they are buying in share, but then supplying kernel. They are not themselves growing. But China, of course, will continue, but let's compete with our brother in South Africa. But we will remain an organic market for nuts.
Now, as we wind up this conversation, there's a young person who's listening and they're wondering, how lucrative is this farming for macadamia? And also because we know there's competition from now the peanuts. It feels like macadamia is a niche market.
It's a niche, the price is high. Peanuts, of course, we also do, people are doing peanuts, but peanuts is a low price item. So
would you encourage a young person to get into it, and how can they tap into the market and make good returns out of it at the end of the day?
One, a macadamia tree, which you don't need to take out of care of. If you plant one, even two in your compound, at high production is 50 kilos a tree. So you have 2 trees. That is 5 trees. That's 500 kilos. That's half a ton. in any measure, and we are talking about 200 shillings per tree. Yeah? Yeah? And this is a season of 3 months. Is that not a good return for a young person?
It is.
Yeah? And they don't have to invest a lot of money. If they want to come and do buy the crushed nuts from the factories for energy production and all that, that is something they can do. Even these husks, if somebody goes around the village and collect the husk, even the husk itself can be done in charcoal briquette. But now it is left to waste in the market. Of course, the small cottage industry, snacks and all that with the flavor of macadamia. All those are possibilities.
Right. So it's a lucrative business.
And the entry level, other than that, the processing level is very low.
Right.
You don't require a lot of capital to get into it.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Wachira, for speaking to us today and helping us understand how lucrative the business is, and also just a lot more on government and policy, which is very important when it comes to the farmers. Thank you so much. Now, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so very much to the farmers and, of course, our team that is working tirelessly on this production. We say a very big thanks, and, of course, our audience for choosing to be with us every single day. Now, we always do a farm joke right here on the show. So here we make you feel a bit young, a bit, because the joke is just open your mind. And the question of the day is, why were the two bulls ignoring each other? You have 3 seconds to give me an answer.
There was no female.
Wow. Well, the answer is they had a lot of beef.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But you know what? That answer of yours is also making sense.
Yes.
But yeah, they had a lot of beef. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you so very much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow, a day when we focus on animal farming in Kenya. And we do have another amazing show lined up for you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Violet Angina. Goodbye. Oh, yeah.